So guys, what we have in the previous video, part 1 we have created public subnet, public route, internet gateway, and then we access EC2 instance from out. So outside people have access EC2, right, through route table, internet gateway, and public subnet. And today video what we are going to do, we will create a private subnet here, and we gonna try to do it, we will like try to download the update from the data. This is considered database, right? Your EC2 instance, second one is database. We don't wanna give access from the outside people to get access our database. We don't want to do it. Only what we gonna do it in this video, we will allow our EC2 database machine to get update from the internet. Only work only have give the access on one way, like only update, get EC2 gets update from the internet, and the outside people cannot access our EC2 database machine. So I'm going to make it more simple here. So let's suppose, where's my pen is right here. We have website, we hosted our website here, right? And we have a file server here right here, and here is our database, data database EC2. Here is our file server is EC2, right? So what happened here, we will go through AWS approach. First we will create a VPC, and after VPC we will attach we gonna attach two subnet. One is for public, one is for private subnet, right? Here is we gonna attach public one, subnet, sub subnet, and here we will attach private, PRV, private subnet. So this EC2 machine will have access from the publicly, public can access this one, but we don't want to give access publicly for our database. Reason for database store lot of information, so we will keep it privately. So we have two subnet, publicly public subnet and private subnet here. So as I mentioned here, we have a web application. This web application will have a file store here, right? Files, and this web application will have database right here, right? Now this web storage EC2 one instance, now this website file storage EC2 one instance, anyone can access from the web, right? And this will be this web will be communicate this the EC2 instance through the internet. So this EC2 instance should be publicly available because of the subnet. We created subnet publicly, right? We attach it subnet, right, with the internet gateway, right? So this is publicly available, this one is not publicly available. So same I mentioned in this picture right here. So this one EC2 database, we don't want to give access to the customer, and customer only can access our that website. So still, once we implement any EC2 database, we need to every week we need to update our OS, operating system, right? So what we still need connection here, internet connection. For the internet connection, so we will attach this EC2 machine with the route table, and net gateway will help us to communicate with with that route table, and that table has the internet gateway, so we will get internet gateway, right? So what is the net table here? Net table only allow to database to communicate internet and get the updates only. We need to deploy a net gateway always in a public subnet, always here in public subnet, right? Because in the public subnet has a public route here, and with the public route it has an internet gateway connected right here. So like only the network address translation will help us to get update from the internet. Is gonna route private traffic to the this route public route table, and the public route table is connected with the internet gateway, so we'll get have access. So today video we will go through from scratch again. First we will create a VPC, then we will try to launch EC2 and attach EC2 with the VPC, and we will create a subnet with subnet public subnets. After public subnet we will create public route table and then internet gateway. First we will try to communicate from outside to our public EC2 instance, and then when we done successfully we will try to get update our database for by using net gateway. Okay, I'm going to open AWS console now. First I'm going to create VPC. Before VPC I'm going to define the region, which region I'm going to define a Canadian region VPC, right? I have already one VPC. All region has default VPC already, so I'm going to delete this default VPC first. For deleting VPC default VPC, we need to type default VPC delete DFAULT VPC. So now you guys can see is enabled right here. Is going to be, now we don't have any VPC, so I'm going to create VPC right here. I'm gonna keep my VPC name as sorry first VPC. Here CIDR block, so I'm going to give 10.0.0.0.0 slash subnet mask is 16, so we will have how many IP address? 65,000 IP addresses, right? So here is our VPC is being ready right here. Now what we need to do, create a subnet right here. You guys can see VPC is ready. Now create a subnet. So I'm going to click subnet right here, and I'm going to create subnet right here. First, before creating subnet, we need to attach VPC. Right now I'm going to keep my name here. So as I mentioned, I'm gonna keep one public subnet and one private subnet, right? So this would be a public subnet, and as I mentioned here in this picture, there is a availability zone, right? So we can define the availability zone right here, Central America, right? And here so here you go, CIDI block here, 65,000 IP address. We gonna divide it. So I'm gonna keep the subnet mask is 24, so we will have 256 IP address for this subnet. Create. So I created public one, right? Now I'm going to create another subnet for private one. That is a private one, right? So click here, add VPC, my first VPC, name it private subnet. same availability zone, and there so 24, and I'm going to change the IP because 256, the first one subnet will complete it 256, and the second number will change for different IP, right? So create. So now I created two subnet. One is public, one is private so what I created here, I created here VPC, right? And after VPC I have created subnet, public and private subnet. So these two subnet is still private subnet, because the public subnet we need to define auto assign IP address, so it will have a public IP address right here. So before I'm gonna show you guys here, click here, this one has IP version 6 here, make it bigger, right? So there's no public IP right here, only private IP, you guys can see it, right? If I assign it public IP, you guys can see it, the public IP will be pop up right here. So far we have public and private subnet. I'm going to launch EC2 machine, public EC2 machine. So click here, EC2. So you guys can see my VPCs here, which I created, right? If I don't delete the default one, so default one will be attached with this EC2 machine. So because of confusion I deleted default one, and it's connected with the private subnet. So private subnet, yeah, you guys can see auto assign IP address are disabled. If so, this one I'm going to create a public one, right? So now is change the auto assign IP address, the public IP address is enabled. Once I launch it, it will get public IP address, right? And what else? Nothing. Why we give the public IP for this instance? Because people from the outside can access our EC2 machine, that EC2 machine. So that's why it was enabled for public IP. People can outside can access my EC2 in a public, and the second instance I'm gonna launch it, I will keep the private, so people of the outside cannot access our database EC2 instance. So here I'm going to attach security security group. Security group is SG right here. So I will explain what is security group, right? So I will add here HTTP, because we are hosting the web application. So this means allow all the IP address. Launch. This is authentication, my keypad. So I'm going to create new keypad, the new keypad, right? My keypad one. First we need to download it. This is error showing because I have already exist in my computer. I'm gonna put 2 right here. It's been downloaded in my computer. I'm going to launch EC2 instance, right? So my EC2 instance is being launched. This is a public one. I'm going to tag it as a public. So it's been launched here. So you guys can see it. I got the public IP right here, right, for public instance, because I mentioned subnet as a public subnet, but subnet assigned the IP address right here. I'm going to launch another EC2 instance. Go back here, run, click here, create another one. It's been quick this time. Okay, so the same VPC, and this time is a private subnet. So this would be my private database EC2 instance, so no one can have access my private one, right? So this is a secure number of instance 1, right? I'm gonna use the what is no tag storage. I'm gonna use the existing security group, right? Which I did create it, launch, and I'm gonna get the authentication existing one. Okay, keep the existing was kp2, right? Launch. So now we have two instances running. One is public, one is private. private private, right? So this one would not have public IP. You guys can see there's no public IP, it has only private IP, right? Dashboard, two of them are running right here. So public and private. So now we have private and public subnet, sorry, private and public EC2 machine right here, and subnet right here, private and public. So this is a private one. This one does not have IP enable. Auto assign IP enable is disabled because I make it private, not public. And here is the public one, has auto assign IP enable, so is going to whatever EC2 connect with this subnet, it would be a public EC2. So right here is EC2, public EC2. We have created VPC, we have created public and private subnet, and we have created two public EC2 and private EC2. So now I'm going to try to connect connect EC2 with my sorry, SSH, my internet, public internet, gonna try to connect with EC2, public EC2. So CD download, I download my security group keypad authentication in download. So I'm going to EC2 machine. This is a public one, trying to connect public. So SSH client, it won't connect. Why it's not gonna be connect? Reason, we don't have internet gateway. First we need to create internet gateway. It's going to be timeout right here, because of the internet gateway is not assigned yet. So as I mentioned, one VPC should have one internet gateway, and vice versa, one internet gateway connect with the one VPC. So we will create gateway right here, create gateway, internet gateway, create, and I'm going to attach VPC. As I mentioned, one VPC connect with one internet gateway is being connected. Internet gateway is still, if I try to connect it, it will say that timeout again. Reason, because we are it does my EC2 machine does not my EC2 machine does not know what is the route. So I need to create a route table and connect with the internet gateway. So each subnet should have route table. So you can see public subnet has route table and private subnet has route table. So in this point we're gonna create two route table, and the public one we will attach with the internet gateway. So I click route table here, as like I got default route table here. As soon as you create a VPC, and VPC create one default route table to route the traffic. So I'm going to change the name to public. So you guys can see VPC is already attached, first VPC, and here what we need to do, we need to mention the route, where to come traffic, where to go traffic. So what happened here, this route table configure here, and this route table will connect to the internet gateway. Whatever traffic coming from the outside, this gateway will route to this route. So now this route table only work locally. only the traffic coming from the VPC it will work. So we need to add a route table, uh, okay, 0 0 0 all IP addresses, and route to the internet gateway. So we just created internet gateway, so anyone can allow, anyone IP can be allowed. And here, this one, any like route table allow only the VPC traffic only here, right? And this one is any IP address can communicate to the public subnet. And our target is internet gateway, right? Save it. So close. So if we try again, it is still not gonna work because, oh, so now, yes. So we are connected to our, so we are connected now. Still, one thing is missing here. We need to associate public route table with the subnet right here. So make it bigger. This, oh, which one is public, which one is private? So this is a public one, we need to attach it. So public one, right? So now we launch EC2 under public subnet, and we have a route table, internet gateway, and we can communicate, outside people can communicate our public EC2 machine. And the next step, we going to be configure here route table for the private EC2 machine, which is our database, and we need only download access here. So go to the route table right here. So this was a public, right? And I'm going to show you guys the private one. Come on. Oh, we haven't created private one yet. We're going to create private route. VPC, create, close. So this is a private one and public one. The private one, if you see here, route, there is only local route. So this is a, you can say private route table. And here, if you see, you will see any IP addresses is allowed through the gateway, through the gateway, and we associate with the route table with the public public subnet. Okay, come on, public subnet. So outside people can come inside right here in our, they have access our EC2 machine, but they don't have access for our database EC2 machine, because it's in private subnet, and it has a private route table. So we name route table. So previously we had we associate subnet, public subnet with the public route table. The same thing, we need to associate our private subnet. We need to associate our private subnet. You guys can see here is the subnet with the private route table. So add it here. So this is a public, this one is private, and here you go. So our route table is attached with the private subnet. So this private subnet I have attached here, private route table. Now so I mentioned every subnet should have one route table, so we have private route table and private. Let's go. So you guys can see here there is a two instance running here, public and private. Public has you guys can see public has public IP addresses, and I connected with the public IP address here, right? So with the private one, I don't have private. I don't have public IP here, so I cannot connect it directly. So what I need to do, I need to connect first the EC instance public one, and then through public I will connect with my private network. Before we doing this one, we need to create a NAT gateway. So now we are not on the same network, right? So we are different network. I log in with the private IP here, and I wanna access my I log in with the public IP. I wanna access my private network. We are not on the same network. So what happened here? Right now I'm logging into my public network, public EC2 machine. From public EC2 machine, I will log in my private EC2 EC2 machine. Clear? Right here. So this is my public IP, right? So once I try to log in, if I get success login, so I will get the private IP here, and it will show you it will show the EC2 instance private IP, because the private and public EC2, they are in the same, if you see, they are in the same network, same VPC, right? But the subnet masks are different here. So now I'm gonna try to connect with my private EC2 machine with from the public EC2 machine. Connect here. So I got there is a public IP, copy and paste here. Okay. No. So copy, paste here. It won't. There you go. So I did try. I did try. It won't let me in because says the PM not accessible, no such a file or directory. So we need authentications keypad, which we downloaded. So we need it because we downloaded it in our Windows machine, right? So we go through with the Windows machine. Now we need to download in our Linux server EC2 machine, which is the public one. So what we can do it, we can nano. Okay, we need to open and copy paste here. So download, like here, edit, or direct open. So I'm going to open in Node++. So copy all here. So here nano my keypad kp2 dot pem. So through this my keypad authentication, we can communicate with the private, right? So I open this one, paste here, exit, control X. Do you wanna save? Yes. So now we are going to connect again private one. So here is some permission issue, bad permission issue. So in Linux we need to assign the permission, chmod change mode 400. So my keypad 2 dot pem. So I got permission here. So now we're going to connect again. So now you guys can see IP address is changed. I am in Linux 2 AMI machine, which is my private database. So I am connected successfully here, right? So now you can check it, which one is private IP, which one is uh, public IP, right? So this one is my private IP, right? If you see here, this is my instance, private instance is 247, right? Here is 247 is my, I'm logging in my private machine through public machine. So back here, instance. So this is a private instance, this is a public one. Public one has a public IP, if you guys can see, 44 364 44 right here. This is a public one, right? 243, right? 243 here, right? So this was my public instance. Through public, I log in my private EC2 instance, the private database. So what happened here, no one's from the outside can directly talk to the our database. So first we need to log in our EC2 machine here. Through EC2 machine we can log in here. So the last part here, what we need to do, we have created private subnets, private route table, and now this machine needs internet, right? So far right now the database does not have connected internet. We need to get the download or to get the internet, we need to configure here VPC net gateway. So what I'm going to try to do it, I'm trying to do it, update my private the private one, private database EC2 instance, but it's not updating right here. It's going to be timeout, or just wait for it. It should show the timeout. So it's need to update some packages, right? So it's got timeout, right? So I'm going to configure. So you can type sudo like that, sudo yum update -y. It will update your machine, but there is no internet connectivity yet because the net gateway is not configured, right? So once we configure the net gateway, I would able to download updates, or we can configure net instance right here, net instance or net gateway. But net gateway, Amazon, they manage it. We don't need to manage it. Net instance, we do manage it, like as a as a AWS admin has to be updated. If net instance is one instance is fail, everything will be fail here. Here is like net gateway always get maintenance by AWS. People is never be failure. So there are two way. So your private EC2 instance can be communicate with the internet. There is a two-way. One is net instance, one is net gateway, where a net instance similar to the EC2 instance, right? So we not gonna talk about it, we will work here. In order to provide net gateway public route, so we need to deploy net gateway into a public subnet here, right? So now what we do, we need to go and create configure one of the net gateway here. So now we are going to create a net gateway. So click here, net gateway, right? So create, name it net gateway. Subnet, as I mentioned, is need to be deployed in a public subnet, right? And elastic IP, 1 second. So right here are what is called the private, we log in the private, but we cannot update it, right? Because there is no route table, there is no net gateway. So this one is cannot EC2 database, EC2 instance cannot be communicate with the internet so far. So we are going to create a net. We have created route table for the private subnet, and now we are going to configure net gateway, right? So we need to attach elastic IP. Elastic IP is not free. Be careful. Once you done, you need to be delete it, right? So is elastic IT is assigned now. Create network gateway. Elastic IP will charge you, right? So it's been created. Net gateway has been created. Now what we can do? We go up here. We need to mention route table again. Where to traffic come and where to traffic go. So in public route table, we add a route to the internet gateway, right? Sorry, here, right here, right? And in a private, the same thing in a private gateway, we need to add a route here. So uh, public coming from the public network, any IP coming from the public network, route to the NAT gateway, which we have just created, right? So what happened here? This private subnet I connected to the private route table, and this private route table I connected it to NAT gateway, and this NAT table is in public subnet, right? And this NAT gateway will have like communicate with the route table, and route table will communicate with the internet gateway, and this that gateway will have access for the internet. So now we can check, can we update it? Look now, uh, our database EC2 machine has access, internet access, and it can download the update from the internet. Oh, from the internet, right? Is downloading right now, is right here. So it's get updated, dependency updated, all the information right here. It's already updated. No package mark for updated. Everything is updated now. So NAT gateway and NAT instance both are same, but the difference is NAT instance is configured by us, and is configured on the EC2 machine. It can fail anytime, and the NAT gateway is managed by AWS, and it's never be fail in AWS, right? It could be failure anytime, and your whole structure, infrastructure gonna be destroyed. be be careful. As I mentioned, elastic IP is not free. We need to uh, terminate all the elastic IP as well as EC2 instance. So go first to EC2, click here, action, uh, stop instance, dashboard, action, instance setting. Come on, my computer is slow. Terminate both instance, and then is going to be shut down right now here. And after it's shutting down, we need to click uh, we need to delete our VPC. VPC is not going to be deleted. If we able to delete VPC, everything will be deleted. Delete VPC. No, we need to first wait for EC2 instance, and is going to be shutting down, and then we try to delete subnet. There is a dependency. Oh, it's been terminated. So delete net gateway. It's deleting right now. Go back to VPC, delete VPC. Still is deleting, is not done yet. Subnet. This is a default one, is attached with the VPC. It's not gonna delete until VPC is being deleted. Come on, now we can delete VPC. So VPC is delete, everything will be delete. Subnet mask delete, internet gateway is being delete, and net gateway is being delete. So they will charge you if you use the IP, elastic IP, right? So how to check it? So go here, check the billing dashboard. It will tell you. So far this month, only they charge me 17 cent. Anyway, goodbye.